Good morning. I know we had a great dinner last night and a terrific speaker. For those of you who are here, I have to say when Jamie Ratcliffe said we were giving umbrellas out as swag, I'm going, I don't know. Wasn't it great to have him this morning? So I'm Alan Taub. I'm a professor at U of M and the director of our new electric vehicle center. Thanks everybody for joining. We're still waiting for our chief mobility officer to come, but I'm sure she'll be here on time. What we've pulled together today is really a fantastic set of speakers and panelists that are really setting the stage for what are the challenges and opportunities as we transition to electrification. And for those of you who were able to be here last night, it was interesting. If you saw it towards the end of Larry Burns' speech, he used to be my boss. So if he said, I'm giving you advice, that means you go do it. He did put the caveat on that I didn't need to listen to him, but I sort of learned a lot out of that. And he really gave an overview beyond electrification, what we really have to do to reinvent mobility. And I noticed he now calls it accessibility. Today is going to be more of the tactics of how we get there. Before we get into the session, though, I wanted to take an opportunity to introduce some of you to the Electric Vehicle Center. This is probably the first time we're having not one-on-one discussions with companies to get them on board, because that's well in hand, but really the ability to roll out what we are about. And so I think this, whoops. Jamie, how do I get the video running? Or okay. So we were given $130 million from the state of Michigan and then $20 million from the university to really build on our history of helping great students get the workforce going and our long history of U of M of supporting the automotive industry. And, you know, I've given a lot of talks over my career. I was both in industry and in academia. It was only 2 times that I got a standing ovation at the end, and I'm not asking for one now. But I was at shortly after we were launched, I was on a panel discussion in Detroit. And you're going through the questions and, you figure you're all done. And then the moderator surprised us and goes, okay, what's your closing comments? So I was the last one on the panel and I'm thinking, and then just ad-libbed, we're in Detroit. It's time to rebrand the Motor City as the E-Motor City. I'll repeat, it was the first time I ever got a standing ovation. It was a month later, another panel used the same tagline and it happened again. So that's become our vision, to really make sure Michigan, and you can interpret it as the state, Southeast Michigan or the University of Michigan, to make sure we maintain our leadership role in mobility. And when it comes to the propulsion system, the transition to E is inevitable. And we have 3 pillars. One is improving the facilities at U of M. Talk briefly about that. Improving the workforce and education, and of course, the technology. So what was interesting is the state normally would have given the funds to MEDC to pass on to the university. They actually gave it to LEO, Labor and Economic Opportunity, and if you've worked with them before, they have a goal of improving and growing the corporate base and employment in Michigan, labor and economic opportunity. So we took that challenge on, saying our goal was to help companies who are in Michigan, who are going to locate in Michigan, to thrive during the transition from the internal combustion engine to electric. And so we've driven our center around supporting those companies. The $130 million breaks down into $60 million. We're improving our facilities. and our capability of doing both education and research. 20 million, for some reason the state calls workforce and education programming, and then 50 million for technology development. And then the university gave us another 20 million to support our facility improvements. We are always looking for new funds, so we're applying for federal grants, but I would like to recognize one of our advisors, Justin Miro, who is up here in the front, did our first donation of $500,000, which we're using to improve our education support for students. And we just got a $2 million grant for the Dow Foundation. Of course, anybody else who's interested, come see me. But I'd like to thank them. So again, we are driving our program around these 4 initiatives. Let me first talk about the facility. And this whole initiative began, and we do have the table over there of our battery lab. The university, and I didn't even know had this, we have a pilot line to produce battery cells and then cycle them. It's 98% used by companies. And, it's getting a little long in the tooth, very well utilized, and it is a full pilot line. In fact, when, I was asked to take it over, my response to the dean was, we have a pilot line. Went to look at it, it looked like the one we had set up at GM R&D when I was there. And so companies come in with their proprietary anode and cathode material, and we produce pouch and cylindrical cells. And it was really time to upgrade it. First of all, the equipment, we wanted to scale up, make larger cells, which is what our companies were asking for. And we're presently located on campus, but I had the ability to take our advisory committee to the first time we've shown our new line. It's capable of making larger cells. It's an leased site in Southeast Ann Arbor. And I'd say in general, they were very impressed. I mean, instead of what we did in our existing facility was sort of retrofit part of the room to be dry, the entire operation is in a dry room. And if you want details on it, or if you'd like to access it, we're always looking for new customers. Go see Greg and his team over in the corner. The great news is I've been paying rent for 18 months, waiting for the equipment to be operational, and it's getting turned on now. We're just tuning up the dehumidifier. We also were asked by the companies, oh, it's great that you're making cells for us, and they're automotive scale cells. We really would like you to make battery packs. I said, we're a university, that's a step too far. But we had a welder donated by Mons, and we're now in a position to produce modules. And actually the first application we've done of it as part of the shakedown was we welded some modules for the student teams that are now making their vehicles electric instead of gas. You can see they're larger cells. And in fact, we're planning the ribbon cutting in the spring and getting ready to service our new customers once the dehumidifier gets complete. The other thing is a very long journey. I've done many buildings in my career in the real world. This one took a little bit longer to get through the upfront phase, but we have a containable design. And the great news is the Regents approved our site and our plans last month. And so now we're moving to make our new facility. This facility, which is just across the street from here, connected to, if you know, the Umtree building. That's the Transportation Research Institute, which you'll hear about later. We're going to be in addition to it, and we'll have room for 3 lines. So we're really looking for that, probably targeting operation in 2027. So we're doing well on the facility side. At this point, I've got my budget fully booked So again, always looking for new money. And in fact, we are part of 2 big proposals into the federal government, which is trying to create additional pilot line capability around the country. Remember, this is not just about technology. It's really about getting the workforce ready and targeting the workforce for Michigan companies, as well as serving the rest of the nation. And you'll hear later, we have a panel focused on some of our workforce activities, but I just wanted to highlight a few. There's a general program, we didn't invent it, called the Undergraduate Research Experience. It really tries to direct our undergraduates to get interested in doing research, perhaps getting them targeting to do graduate studies. And so we sponsored a cohort in electric vehicle last summer. We'll be doing the same this summer, working quite well. Jason Siegel is our education director. He's here somewhere. I saw him. You can talk about it. But the biggest request we got from the companies was, we need trained and retrained engineers now. And in particular, a request for a master's program in battery engineering. We're starting with professional education that's being launched as we speak. And Jason somehow managed to get the college to move at lightning speed. So this fall, we will be launching our master's in battery engineering. The curriculum is almost done and approved. We discussed it a bit with our advisory committee, which are our company members, yesterday, and we are looking for our first tranche of students. So get ready for that announcement. But we're more than just producing engineers. This is about enabling the entire pipeline of workers. I know when I was in industry, our biggest shortage was actually technicians. Whether it was at the dealership to repair vehicles, and if any of you own electric vehicles, you know most dealers today are not staffed to do the repairs of that powertrain. And so we've been working with Schoolcraft College, local community college, to work on an EV technician program. And this has been one of the more interesting ones, and one we will be able to scale up now that we have our new battery line. We run over the summer, Educate the Educators. So the first time through, we brought in community college professors to do hands-on learning about how to teach the various aspects of batteries and electric vehicles. Then we moved it to high school teachers. This is a scalable module. And if any of you are interested in bringing it to your institution, is Jason here? Somewhere? I can't see, there's too many lights. Well, he'll be around. I think he's teaching this morning. Please contact him. We're also looking at the broader pipeline. And one activity that Ashley Brighton and Jesse and others started was, the best way to excite people is tell them how exciting, and particularly young people, how exciting it is to work in the industry. So we're doing professional videos where people who are working in the business do a video. We post it on the website, and the clicks are going quite nicely. If any of you are interested in supporting it, see Ashley or Jesse. I'm sorry, these lights are so bright I can't see anything. So come see me. On the technology side, we spent a lot of time in initial discussions with the companies. Where are your gaps? And I have to be honest, coming from the automotive industry, I thought we were going to be focused solely on the on-vehicle components, the batteries, the integrated motor drives, the power electronics. And that is where we started. But very quickly, we heard from the companies, we're worried about the supply chain. We're worried about the life cycle impact of all the mining we're doing now for the various elements. We're worried about the end of life. If you think of what a battery, by the time it's finished, its automotive life, we used to think if it was degraded 20%, that was it. I could no longer get, not necessarily the range, but the acceleration. Maybe now that's 25%. That's still a really good battery. Can we rejuvenate it? Can we reuse it? And then the big question of, if the vehicles are going to be ready, will the grid be ready? So we just, in fact, we've launched our projects on the on-vehicle components after our workshop. We just had our workshop on infrastructure, and we'll be doing that. And I now get to become an audience member. So I'm very pleased to introduce Professor Adira. Come on up. Our honorary symposium chair, and I shouldn't call him honorary because working with the rest of our team, he's really the one who kicked this off. Solomon, who by the way is a technical colleague, we do collaborate, and also I just, 2 days ago, approved his project for the EVC. He's a master's and PhD from MIT, and then I really like him because he did his postdoc at Harvard before joining U of M. Very active in thermal management research. In fact, he's leading one of our projects now. Works on fluid structure interactions. Really a leader in his field. And I'm pleased now to become a member of the audience. Justine's stuck in traffic. So our Chief Mobility Officer, State, is stuck in traffic. Her job is to do the technology, not to fix the roads, but I don't know if our DOT rep is here. Maybe he can fix that. We will adapt appropriately. So Jim is filling out. So what we will do, I'm assuming, is we'll switch. We're gonna switch and do the technology presentations, and then hopefully the traffic will have cleared and Justine can be here.